The fact that we not only get our girl back, confirmed as the leader of this little Templar looking group, Jolenta's back, baby. And that is fan freaking tastic and is definitely leading to credibility that she will be indeed the one to publish that book. I'm so happy there. I would have took Noak as well. Hell, I would have even took the priest that Bedeni left all the shit with. But I was hoping for her most of all, and I was so happy. The uncle. Scumbag of the goddamn year award. Pure disgusting. Vile behavior. That dude got sliced. Not because, like, necessarily he was a target of anything, but I'm starting to believe maybe there is a god in this world because, goddamn, did karma come for his ass tenfold. And watching him bleed out, I'm gonna be honest, I know it's gonna sound psychopathic, but watching him bleed out being like, help me, and she's like, bitch, you just sold my bitch ass out. Brought me great joy. But man, I say this, I can't say I say it a lot on the channel because there's not a lot of anime that do this, but anytime there's an anime episode where its characters essentially just sitting or standing in one location for the most part and just talking each other's ears off, those are almost always my favorite episodes, unless the anime is shit. If the anime is shit, then the dialogue shit. But when I think of stuff like a ReZero, Rem and Subaru's conversation, go into live action, one of my favorite Walking Dead episodes was when the governor and Rick were having like a conversation about territory, and it was like one wrong move, someone was getting shot. Love that type of tension. To have very similar people. Actually, Schmidt and, Draka actually have a lot in common, but there's a very core difference. But you look at Schmidt's ideology of God, it's a lot easier to listen to, in my opinion. And watching someone who very much disagrees, like, God don't exist, to God exists, it's just rather than thinking it of a singular entity or object or idea that can be understood, it's too complex for the human brain, but all of creation, right? Their ideology back and forth conversation was so freaking good, and we are on the cusp. We are right there, almost ready to invent a letterpress and mass produce Ochi's book. This is anime of the year, 2 years in a row. Do I need to keep repeating myself? Of course, if you want to see my full thoughts on these amazing episodes, do it with the Patreon. We got the full live reactions over there exclusively. So, I liked Schmidt the first time I thought he was crazy, but I liked his introduction. And I said it last week. I thought the way she was going to get out of this situation was she would burn the book and say, I got knowledge in my head. And they really bamboozled me. So the priest, or the dude who was, essentially, I guess, getting her as a servant, slave, whatever, very different persona than I was expecting. Like, he was very curious about her. Like, why would you go after cloth rather than valuables? And just clearly she was a very smart person. So I thought, okay, I still don't want to trust him with the book, so maybe we won't have to burn because that's what I said last week. She would burn it and say, I got all this knowledge. And then they get jumped, right? Because she was actually going to turn over the book, and then hands literally were sliced off. I love what they did here, because now I'm curious where this dude's going to go now that he's run off and seemingly still alive. And the fact that she ended up doing it to Schmidt, because I have a bit of a grievance, and this is the second time I've had a grievance with this show, and it's logic, because for the most part, the logic is fantastic. Rewind back episode 10, or no, not episode 10, I'm too late. Like episode 6 or whatever, whenever Ochi was first introduced, and his like little mentor guy died, and he was hanging on by the necklace, I personally feel like he could have grabbed onto the side of that bridge and probably saved his life, but is what it is. Similarly, I fully believe they could have salvaged 2/3 of that book. All they had to do was tackle her. What's the worst that could happen? You risk burning more of the book? I mean, I felt like someone was going to tackle her and like half of the book would be put out. No, they were just like, well, that's unfortunate. Questionable logic in a show that's all about logic. That's all I'm going to say. But the idea that they had a way to verify her knowledge wasn't bullshit, because this other guy that was with them didn't have the chance to read the full thing, and obviously isn't going to have an eidetic memory apparently similar to her. But, the stuff she was saying was more or less like, yeah, that's similar to what I read, so yeah, it seems like she knows what she's talking about. And then we get into the whole battle of wits here about actually a lot in common, and that was what was surprising. I wasn't expecting Schmidt and her to get along so well up until the, what do you mean don't believe in God? I thought he was ready to draw a blade. No, he was just like, damn, you're fascinating. I think you're an absolute lunatic, but you are fascinating. No one believes like you do. And it's going to be so interesting because someone who's hungry for money, her belief is literally, I need money. Then you have a group that's like, we shouldn't discredit God. We shouldn't abandon God. God is a thing, but you also have to be able to have logic. You have to have reason. You have to be able to learn and grow with the world and understand that we can't perceive the creation of things in a very easy to digest way, but there's a lot of things we probably can perceive to rationalize things. It's such an interesting back and forth, and confirming that it is indeed her. I knew before they even showed her face. When I saw the backside, not in a sexual way, her ass was covered, but her hair, I was like, that has to be her. If it wasn't, I would have been so salty, because there's no way you give us a blonde-haired woman and not have it be Jolenta. She's looked like she's been through some shit over 25 years, that's for damn sure. You can just feel like, with age comes wisdom and probably a lot of suffering. I hope we do get to see Nowak at some point. I hope he's still alive and kicking. I'm definitely interested in what the priests who, obviously translated, all the tattoo stuff or like transferred it into a book is up to. But man, like, we have 7 episodes left. This is a full adaptation. We are getting the ending to this story. And while pieces of it definitely are feeling like they're being laid out in the way I thought they would, her being the one to publish potentially, I mean, her group and, the printing press essentially, like, it's getting there, but what is the final... We have to have one more time skip. Not even because the character's going to die and we need to introduce another, but like, once it's all said and done, 100-year time skip? I don't know, like, what is it? Are they going to do something, right? There's so many questions I have, but the fact that they committed to killing the uncle in the most, like, satisfying way possible. He wasn't even meant to be the target. Like, he didn't get, like, a warrior's death. Like, it was just like, did I hit a fly? I'm sure it's fine. The priest, who I thought was going to be an absolute scumbag, way more complex seemingly than I was initially giving credit to. Kind of sad we don't get to see more of him, but I'm sure he'll come back up at some point. Jolenta, that amazing conversation, the battle, the whole show's been a battle of ideologies, but like, the characterization and everything is just freaking flawless. This, once again, left me speechless. The show leaves me speechless every week, pretty much since the 3rd episode, if we're being honest, with the big death. Rest in peace, Raffle. You let me know what you're thinking. Where do you think it goes now that we do have confirmation our girl is back? And how happy were you when that uncle met his maker? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Cryptic, Pathu, Blood iOS, Samantha, that Random Man, Anime Man, and we also have Paul Tar. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Have a good one.